welcome back to the best thing we watched this week. We got Chris from Movies and Munchies, myself, Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. And if I'm speaking a little bit faster, it's because we're pushed for time because we've had internet problems again. So we're going to go like a racing star, and he's off to the races. No, we won't do it like that.
We're only going to say half of things that we were going to think of. We'll just
do half sentences.
End in the middle of a...
No, that's going to drive me. Finish the sentence, damn it.
I can't tell if your internet sucks or what.
Welcome back to the best thing you watched this week. We're going to have an interesting one this week. Also, our Patreon. This week, we're going to do spoilers and a ranking for the John Wick films, and we're going to do spoilers for John Wick 4. So if you were hoping that I was going to talk about John Wick, I will be, but that's going to be in Patreon, which you can get for £1 at the moment, and that includes a cornucopia of other content, at least 40 videos ranging in different genres and things that we do there. Also, our audio exclusive, we have an exclusive film that we're going to talk about in the audio content. Wherever you listen to your podcast, that's where it's there. Chris is the one that got me to watch this, so if you don't like the film, you can blame him. And every week we talk about movies, but we start with movie quotes. Chris.
Yes. Nostromo, who I'm hesitant to give the guy credit because he said I should be fired, and yet he was late to the party and got all the quotes right. So I don't know. Am I supposed to be fired or not? Because you like that? I don't know.
Nostromo.
Anyway, no. Yeah, Nostromo. Okay, got all of them. The answers were Shazam, the first movie. Speed Racer.
Yeah.
And
that wasn't what I was thinking last week. I said, it's one of your favorite movies. It's not.
Not the one you were thinking of, huh?
No.
And then The Goonies.
Okay. Nice blast from the past. Thanks.
Yes. So this time, okay, I've got 3 more. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. The first one has, it's a bunch of people talking. So each line, it's just, there you go. Okay.
All right.
I'm fuzzy on the whole good, bad thing. What do you mean bad? Try to imagine all life as you know it, stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light. Total protonic reversal. Right. That's bad. Okay. All right. Important safety tip.
Nice. Great quote.
Number 2. I have been and always shall be your friend.
Okay.
Cool. And the third one, this is another quote, back and forth. Miss Rhode Island, please describe your idea of a perfect date. That's a tough one. I'd have to say April 25th because it's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
I think I know this one. Okay.
It's been a while since I've seen this movie, but it just made me laugh.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun film, actually.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments. Give us your answers to those. We'll give you a shout out next week. Ruben, though, do you have a question, or are you going to make me rack my brain on try and name?
Make you rack your brain, but as I said, nobody actually suggested any, but I did get a suggestion from a friend, and they said, okay, name 15 Brad Pitt movies. I checked his IMDb without looking, just it's how many he's done. He's done 82, so hopefully 15 we can do.
15, I think we should, yeah, okay.
Right.
Let's see here. I just have to randomly do them. 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Thelma and Louise. Nice. 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
Troy.
Troy. 7 Years in Tibet.
7 Years in Tibet. Bullet Train.
Nice. Moneyball.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah. True Romance.
Yes. What? Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
He's the stoner on the couch.
On that same tone, Californication.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Deadpool 2.
The best cameo ever, which is then complimented in Bullet Train.
Yes. Yes. It's
That's
amazing.
a good one. Okay. there are so many here that was he in the Jesse James, the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's him. Legends of the Fall.
Oh yeah. And the river runs through it, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Incredible film. Okay, just one more.
One more.
Really new film about the decadence of Hollywood.
Oh, Babylon.
Babylon? Yeah. Here we go, 15.
That was harder than it should have been. There's more in my head, I think.
There's loads more that we haven't mentioned. Interview the Vampire.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So as we're going through here, we're just, as they pop into our head, we'll just randomly throw out a name. And
as we're doing our best things, we're just like, and this one. Meet Joe Black. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Oh, Benjamin Button.
Yes. Come on. There's so many. Oh.
There are.
They're so good as well. All right, let's move on.
Cool. Well, so this is called The Best Thing We Watched This Week. Ruben, what was the best thing you watched?
Okay, so at this point in our podcast/video cast, I think we need to hold an intervention for Chris. And so, guys, in the comments below, let me know that, Chris, we need to know why you don't like American TV.
Do you want the real answer or do you want the nice answer?
I don't know. The answer you want to be aired on podcasts forevermore.
Okay, I'll give it somewhere in the middle. I think that for the most part, it's oversimplified. Now, this does not apply to every single show or movie or anything else. This is a generalization. But on the whole, especially if you're looking at something that is full of intrigue or mystery, the ideas presented in the content typically has to be over-explained. Yeah. It is not left to the imagination too much. It is not left open-ended or for examination and deeper thought. It's just, we're going to spell it out. Even if it starts to be like, ooh, we're gonna make you think about this, and then they come in and say, well, here, this is this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it's culture, some of it? Because you love the British stuff. And sometimes we watch British stuff and be like, that was so obvious as to what was happening.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, for me, I've been drawn just naturally to non-English content for so much of my life.
Well, I suppose you've grown up in that culture, so the different is often more exciting. So yeah, you have a new culture that you're watching overseas, different accents, probably a bit darker, a bit grayer, because the UK or the Europe is generally, well, some of it has that. I don't want to typecast people's grayness. Europe isn't all grey. That's just my feeling of England. The sky is falling. Yeah, okay, so there was a series last year that I loved, and you didn't like at all. Mucho man.
Yeah.
And I loved it. My wife and I, we were like, that was great. And I think it was interesting because it was definitely split audiences again, because there were people that loved it, loved the books, loved what he did with it. I can't even remember what it's called, and I love the
Reacher.
Reacher, yeah. So not Tom Cruise's version, but Reacher. And the second season's coming, and it's got quite a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, all of that. And then, yeah, obviously So here we have another series from Netflix called The Night Agent, who my wife and I got through in 3 days. It's a fairly long series.
It's 10 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lengthy. They don't often do that anymore.
Mm-mm.
And we started at one point where we were going, okay, this night agent, he is the guy answering the phone. He gets a phone call and things spiral and he becomes almost a field agent. There's conspiracies within, conspiracies within conspiracies. It's a mixture of like whatever White House movies you've seen with 24. It's like Jack Bauer having another bad day. I love 24. I love these kind of FBI serial episodic things that you enjoy. Yeah, I would say it's fairly obvious, but it definitely pointed to a few people that we weren't expecting it to point to. And I was like, it's so obvious, it's going to be that dude. And then it wasn't that dude. And it's like, oh, it's not that dude. It's like, is it going to be her then? And I'm like, oh, maybe it was her. And then the conspiracy is bigger than just any one person, because it always is.
Yeah.
And so we like that. I particularly like the choreography. I thought the fighting was very believable. The hand combat close with sort of gung fu. I really liked there's a couple in this series that they were unhinged killers. And I liked them. I thought specifically the female, thought she was just weird, off the wall. And I liked that. I thought it brought another aspect to it. And then of course we have the African-American actor.
He was awesome.
I thought he was fantastic.
Both of them, her and him.
Yeah. And they elevated, definitely some of the dialogue, I think, was, I felt like they went, we need to push this down lower a bit because we want this to be accessible to everyone. Where I would say the recruit is probably higher in the dialogue and thinking. But that didn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I was like, oh, where's this going to go now? I think it has a contained story. It's easy to get through. But I can also see, like when after watching your review, I was like, yeah, I get it as well, but I don't mind that.
I'm glad that you liked it, and some people, I mean, just like I said, with Reacher, like I was in the drastic minority of people that did not like it. At least the people that came to my video, because
they were quite vocal.
They were, and that's fine. You know what I mean? We're allowed to disagree. It's totally cool. Not a big deal. If you enjoyed it, that's awesome. I give my reasons why I didn't enjoy it. Cool. Okay. I am looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, you didn't hate it. There were parts that you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in this new season. Like I want to, I'm going in with an open mind. Like, okay, cool. Well, for me, it could only get better, right?
Right, that's awesome. And also the way it ended reminded me so much of like Mission Impossible. It's like that's an interesting way you could take the series without doing spoilers, because it's fairly new. I thought that's really interesting. That could be better than what we've gotten. You've established the origin story. Now you really can play with your character, which could be more fun. Yeah.
I the one thing, or one of the things that I enjoyed with The Night Agent was the way that they did, like you mentioned, the choreography. And I liked the editing, that they didn't cut away all the time. Yeah. That it actually, they stuck it out and did that. Oh, hey, cool. You know what I mean? Even if I'm not enjoying...
he was particularly good. Like, you believed him. Like, you felt like he had that training.
Yeah.
But what I liked is everybody he faced also had training, because these aren't everyday people. You're facing assassins, you're facing CIA agents. Everybody is like, oh damn, yeah, I'm good, but they're better. So you have a bit of the underdog, even though you're trained, surviving like that. That's why I mention Jack Bauer, because it reminds me of like Jack is he's amazing at what he does, but the people who fight him, like the bad guys, are insurmountable and have so much more access to everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I for me it was a lot of things. I wish it would have been shorter. I think I would have enjoyed it more if it was shorter, and just because things felt drawn out.
You think they dragged out some of the storylines? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I mean, as much as I loved the two killers, what was the purpose of them really? You could have actually taken them out of the whole series and just had things happen, and it explained away like, oh, we need to go there, find out that. But it was like they added it another 2-3 episodes to draw it. Like, so I totally get it. If you wanted to pick apart the series, you totally could.
But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys had fun with it. And
I hate it now. Yeah, I've come around to way thinking.
Oh no! Oh, funny. But
so what was on your list? What's the best thing that you enjoyed?
One of the things which I didn't really know anything about. I believe this has come out already in the theaters in the UK, like at the end-ish of last year.
Okay.
It's just hitting theaters though now.
Right.
My wife and I watched The Lost King. Have you seen this? It's got Steve Coogan in it, and he's not even the star. I can't remember her name now. She was in The Shape of Water.
Philippa Langley.
Well, that's her character name.
Oh, Sally Hawkins.
Sally Hawkins.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what it is this is actually based on a real story where this woman becomes obsessed with trying to find out where Richard III is buried because he had just, they didn't know. And she believes that he's buried in X. And it's the story of following her, watching her do this. Now it is it's based on true events. And then there's some creative license taken within there. Like she talks with Richard III.
Okay.
She sees him. And those are actually, some good discussions back and forth because it lets us into her head. It lets us see more of her character and what she's going through. We see the external struggles that she gets, when she runs into all kinds of obstacles and trying to get this done, trying to get people to believe her, trying to, just the whole thing. Like her family is not on board at first, and then they kind of come around. Steve Coogan is her like ex-husband, and he's kind of a dick for a lot of it, but then not always. And so it's just kind of weird that way, the relationships. There is some melancholy to it, or at least some, like, you get pissed for her because of the things that she encounters and experiences when, working with, trying to get this accomplished, trying to get people to believe in her. It's funny, not laugh out loud like, oh my gosh, I'm gut busting. This is a comedy, but there are humorous moments to it. Sally Hawkins does a really good job. I mean, because she's playing this almost mousy character, this person who lacks confidence, who's been kind of walked over for most of her life. And she's coming into her own almost. She's finding, this little bit of oomph, this, confidence, I guess, to stand up and stuff. And so it's great to watch her do that. From a real life standpoint, it's wildly interesting. Just taking the overarching story of this, of how she came about to find him and where he's at. And so it's kind of cool that way, it's slower, I think, but I was entertained the whole time through. I was riveted because part of it is that mystery, even though it's not played out like an actual mystery movie, it's just, there's the unknown. Yeah, everybody worked well together. Mark Addy is in this, which I love him. And he's great and terrible as a person all at the same time in this.
The director is pretty damn good. Stephen Frears, yeah.
Yeah.
High Fidelity. Dangerous Liaisons.
Yeah. He's done a bunch, and he's partnered with Coogan before. And so anyway, it was if you haven't seen this, I don't know if it's going to be out in theaters in the UK anymore, because I think it did come out.
No. Yeah,
last year.
Came out ages ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but it should probably be coming to like streaming or something like that, on demand or whatever.
Probably is now, to be honest. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It might be. It just, it's, I guess it's 2023. Who knows? But yeah, it definitely worth checking out, especially if you like a character drama with a little bit of just historical intrigue in it. Yeah.
You can rent it now on Amazon in the UK. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah,
Nice.
So there you go.
Interesting find. Very different.
Yeah. Well, and I hadn't even heard of it. My wife was like, "Hey, have you heard this? Can we go see this?" I'm like, "What is that?" She showed me the trailer, and I'm like, "Oh, that looks fun." Yeah,
I love it when you find those little nuggets of things you're not expecting, and it ends up being pretty good. It's bad when you don't know and you go and they're terrible.
Exactly. Well, and it's neat to see like a little film like this amidst the John Wicks and the crazy movies,
Absolutely.
big movies that are coming out right now.
Big movies.
Yeah.
Not everybody enjoys that. Maybe this is something different, more up your street. A little bit of history, a bit of intrigue, helmed by a fantastic director and good cast, and sounds like it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, I mean, obviously
Nice.
it's on my list.
It's on your best thing you've watched.
Exactly. Yes. So what's next on yours?
Well, I've been gaming a bit this week. Well, the last few weeks, I've been taking some downtime trying to get better with my mental health. And so I've been playing Destiny 2 a lot. And there was a character that I was suddenly just reminded, one of the favorites of the character voiced by, and he died this week. Well, last week?
Last week, yeah.
Last week in John Wick. So I've been playing a lot of Destiny, but I took a break because I've been playing too much Destiny.
Oh.
like I can see the patterns and the colors, when you play too much Tetris.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there is a game that came out yesterday.
Oh.
So fairly new. It's a remake, not a remaster. So I think sometimes people get a remaster is just kind of upscaling stuff. A remake is they take the story that they had and then they build it from the ground up.
Oh, okay.
Now what they've done is they've made it much scarier, much creepier, and damn hard. I was playing on normal, and I was getting my ass handed to me, and I've played all of these games and consider myself to know the mechanics of these games. But Capcom have been releasing a few remakes of these games from their franchise of Resident Evil. So Resident Evil 4 came out yesterday,
Nice.
the remake. And so just to give you a bit of an idea, so the original one came out in 2005. So it's fairly old now, which is crazy to think that 2005 is old, but, that's almost 20 years.
Yeah, that is.
So this story is 6 years after the events of Raccoon City. Leon Kennedy, now a federal agent, is sent to a rural part of Spain to rescue the US president's kidnapped daughter, Ashley Graham, from a sinister cult. Now, most people that played Resident Evil, Leon is one of the best characters. The crazy thing is, in my mind, I remember loving Resident Evil 4 particularly. I think 4, 5, and 7 and 8 are my favorites. I know people have their different versions. I like the new stuff because what we can do now with graphics make them look so real. So I like and hate it because it's so real that everything scares the crap out of me. Like, they know how to build suspense. And so I love 7 and 8 for that because it's like hillbilly zombies. just no. Like, and then they mutate and become big monsters, and you got the Resident Evil stuff. Unlike the Netflix Resident Evil series, this actually has a good story that is centered on zombies rather than just random nonsense. Which, that series was nonsense, seriously. I don't know what to do with this game, though, because I've only played a couple of hours, and I'm just dying. All the time. It's like, I know how to play this game. When you come across the first kind of mini boss, is a creepy guy he's got a sack over his head, eyes holes cut out, and he's got fleshy eyes, so it looks like there's no skin around his eyes. So he's poking out at you, and then he's tall, big, ragged clothes, and he's wielding a massive chainsaw. And I don't know how many times he has sawed me in half. He's sawed through me. I mean, there's all these other kind of people that are zombies that don't die, and you can shoot them 3 times and sometimes they die. You can shoot them 3 times in the head and sometimes they die, or they're going to mutate and come up and hold their heads like that with and after dying so many times, a message will pop up. maybe sometimes you should run away and figure out another way to get. I'm like, all right, games, I get it. I really want to get to the
run.
yeah. Learn to play better. I really want to get to the next part because the story is really good. The puzzles are really fun, and I haven't managed to get there. So I feel like I need to restart and go on an easier level because once you set your difficulty, and this is a top tip, like it's much harder than I remember it being. Once you set your difficulty, you stay there. You can change things in the settings, like aim assist if you want to, which might not help because depending on how you track or how you aim, it's going to be difficult. If this is your first time playing, maybe do yourself a favor. Start on an easier run through because it's only going to take about 8 hours to finish the story.
Oh, okay.
So you can come back and maybe do a longer run through on a harder difficulty with like your collections of things, and you know what to do, and then go off the beaten path and go look for those collectibles that people love to do in these games and get the many different outfits that you can get for your character. One stage you can be wearing like a leopard outfit. You like this wouldn't why, but it's like Capcom. Sometimes will allow you from their other games like Dead or Alive or Beach Volleyball. Your characters can suddenly wear those.
Oh, funny.
If you're looking for a good story, something that's going to creep the hell out of you, but is updated like with today's top tier graphics, heaps of atmosphere, an amazing score. You'll enjoy this. It's hard.
Did you play with the lights off?
No, I'm not dumb, Chris. I need to sleep at night. I'm taking medication that makes my dreams vivid anyway.
Oh, yeah, you don't need that, right?
I didn't need that in my life. Yeah. A lot of fun, though. It's very fantastic to see what they've done. Yeah.
Nice. So it's not only, because they're remaking it, but then we have all the current technology, it also is like a remastered version.
Yes. Yeah, they've added things as well. So
nice.
Even if you're a veteran player, there's lots of the characters will interact differently, different sort of dialogue. I'm pretty sure there's different dialogue. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So it's from the ground up. Cool. There'll be paths or ways to do things that they couldn't do with mechanics back then. With they can now. 20 years in the game industry is like massive. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's not just like a cash grab, like, oh, look, hey, we've re-released the game. It's
so many companies have done that, haven't they? Yeah. Like, Assassin's Creed had like, this is a remastered version. This looks exactly the same as the. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's...
Remake though, Capcom, like even their previous Resident Evil 2 remake, that it just looks. It's a beautiful horror. This is so much. It's so pretty. Everything's trying to kill me.
Yeah, you're enamored with the visuals as you're being eaten.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so. Yeah.
Fun. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So yesterday on my lunch break, I sat down with a giant bowl of guacamole that I made, and I watched the first episode of season 2 of Showtime's Yellowjackets.
I've heard good things about this series.
I enjoy the series a lot. Now it is very much like Lost. Okay, it has a monster premise that's like Lost. But
is there black smoke?
No, not yet. But the premise is this: in the mid '90s, late '90s, this girls' soccer team from a school crashes. They're flying to a game like championships or nationals or something, and their plane crashes in the wilderness. Not everybody survives, and then they have to. Something mysterious happens, which has been kind of hinted at, and we've seen little bits here and there, like kind of ritualistic, Lord of the Flies type of thing.
Yeah, that's the vibe. Like, we watched the first couple episodes of season 1, and it was very Lord of the Flies, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that it flashes forward to the present day, where we're seeing the adult characters who are now living with the ramifications, and there's still just as much mystery there because their lives are, there's the mystique that's surrounding them, even as adults, on what happened, how did they survive, because they don't talk about it. So is there cannibalism? Is there, something supernatural. What's going on? And the thing that I've really enjoyed is because this is a series that is more geared to Gen X, my generation, our generation, that it is the music, even though sometimes they get the year a little wrong with the music, that's okay. The music is still awesome. And so, and then you have actors like Christina Ricci, who is phenomenal in the series. Juliette Lewis, who is outstanding. Melanie Linsky is just, she continues to horrify me. And, she's very congenial and she's very charismatic. And then you're like, I don't know about you. You're kind of weird. You even have like on the flashback side from as the teenagers, you have like Jasmine Savoy Brown, who has been in the last 2 Scream movies. Right. So there's a good cast with this, and I'm really digging the mystery. We're seeing more in episode 1. Like, you get some hints, I think, at what may have happened, how they survived, because this episode, they've been stranded now for a while. It's winter, and they're having extreme difficulty finding food. So they're really rationing what they have. And there's already been, tragedies, loss of life, being attacked by bears, the whole thing. I mean, it's gruesome. And then on the adult side, you've got murders, and like at the end of season 1, a character is taken. And so we get to see what happens there with that.
So because you have flashes of the future, is some of the mystery and suspense not taken away because they're alive? So you're like, oh, well, I know they're fine.
No, because there are first off, there's other characters that we have seen die in the past. Yeah. And then we still have not seen all of the characters yet. Like Lauren Ambrose from Servant and 6 Feet Under and stuff. She is a new addition to the cast this year, playing one of the survivors, the adult version of the survivors. But we didn't have her last year, so we didn't know if Elijah Wood is going to be in this, and I don't know what he plays.
I thought it wasn't just a woman on the island.
No, there were a couple. Well, there were. I don't think that Elijah Wood was there on that. Okay. There were a couple of guys, because there were a couple of coaches and like some assistants and stuff. Yeah, that were there, and so it adds complexity to the story. There's a moment in this episode for season 2 that Christina Ricci goes in to talk with somebody, and we've already seen through all of season 1 that she is she's not right in the head. She's she's off, but she's like so fun to watch, and she's smart, but in a very, very scary way. And so she has this conversation with somebody, and the conversation back and forth is hilarious, because the dude that she's talking with is so unconcerned about life in general. He's like given up on life, so he doesn't care. And then she drops some bombshells on him, and the conversation shifts a little bit. And it's just funny to watch this. And so I'm digging it. I'm really digging the continued mystery. This is still one of those that sits in the back of my head with a little bit of worry. Where are they gonna stick the landing? Is this gonna
please don't do a Lost?
Exactly. That's exactly it. I don't. So we'll see. As of right now, I'm having a lot of fun with the show. I think it came back with a very strong first episode, and so there you go. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can catch up and then be current, which is great. You can binge all of season 1, and then I think they're coming out on Fridays, because yesterday I think was the first day. I don't have the screener, so I'm watching with everybody else.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it weekly released, the second season?
It is a weekly release, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and I think it's going to be 8 or 10 episodes.
Nice. Good length. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely on my ample list to finish. Yeah. Talking about weekly series, I watched an episode 4 of a series that's in its 3rd season, and I'm so much happier. It's the shortest episode of the 3rd season so far. The Mandalorian on obviously Disney Plus. This has been an interesting series, and I've seen a lot of people griping about it because it very much feels like now that Jin, now that he has Grogu,
mm-hmm.
And they've made that decision, if you watch Boba Fett, to be together, his whole mission is to make himself worthy to be a Mandalorian again, with his sect, right? Like, so the rule is put your helmet on, never take it off. You only take it off when you eat, and that's away from everybody else. Nobody can see you without your helmet. So the fact that Grogu's with him makes him become like a youngling, not like a Jedi, but basically a young Mandalorian to be. So he goes to, basically this time he goes to visit his group. He had certain things to do, to accomplish, to become part of his group. I think I mentioned that to you recently, like when we talked about episode 1. So the thing is, episode 3 was the longest so far that we've had of this season. It's like an hour. I had no idea what it had to do with the story. It was a little bit of the Mandalorian, and then we have a whole kind of background to characters we've seen before, but didn't seem to have anything to do with an arc. And that's the big thing. There's no real arc this season. We don't know what they're doing or where they're going. Episode 4, for me, was a beginning to establish, very late in the game, like 4th episode in, considering how short these series are, to establish where they could and what they could do. And that's because we were having a bit of inclusion of Bo-Katan. What's her name?
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, yeah, thank you. Her kind of story is now wrapped up with the Mandalorian, and I like that. That seems to be working a lot. Big opening, wonderful sort of hunt that goes on in this episode, and the visuals are fantastic. What they do as the Mandalorians to hunt the thing that's caused them harm. No spoilers, but you'll see it, you'll understand it. How Grogu interacts with all the other Mandalorians and the younglings is hilarious, because he is starting to grow up a bit. He still can't talk, but he's starting to do like certain mumblings of words. But he's definitely, like, he's there, he's watchful, and he knows when the Mandalorian speaks to him, he understands, and he obeys and will try and please him. It's like father and son relationship, which I really like. We also get a background story of Grogu. We see some parts of his past as to what happened to him. And dude, that is the series I want to watch. That's a proper Star Wars series. Like that. Show me that. I was so happy. Just the little bits that we got. The Mandalorian in the cave where they're smithing, and there's this there's a moment that this loud noise sends Grogu back, like in his memory, and then it plays out, and you're like, whoa, that adds so much more weight to his character, what he went through, how he kind of got to where he is now with the Mandalorian. It's the shortest episode so far. It's like 39 minutes, so that's probably 31 minutes when you take out the long extra credits and the recap. But it almost has a lot packed into it. So much happened in this one episode, considering the previous episode, an hour long. And like, you're just wondering where that fits in. Now, it probably will fit in at some point, but at the moment, it just feels like all up in the air and you have no idea what's going on. However, this one has kind of brought it back home to me. It's like, great episode. I really hope they show us what they're thinking, because I have no idea what you're doing with the story at all.
I've seen a lot of chatter on Twitter, I think, about this, where I don't think most people are really, I don't know if they're not enjoying it, but they certainly, kind of like you, they don't know what's the point of this series or season. and that arc. And do you think though that it's one of those that it's more so just go with it, watch it play out, and then at the end?
I hope so, because at the moment it feels like a filler season. And that's not what you want when we don't know when you're going to... Like, for season 1 and 2, it had clear paths. There was a clear destiny, rescue Grogu, or stop the whatever bad guy's doing from whatever they're going to do with his blood. Mm-hmm. Something to do with the Mandalorians. There was all of that kind of storyline.
Yeah.
Now, I think the storyline's to do with the Mandalorians and kind of getting them to what they once were. And there's a MacGuffin thing that could possibly do that. But that's still not a story. It's not an arc. What's the story?
Sure. Mm.
Yeah.
And how many episodes is season 3? Do you know? Is it 6 or 8?
I hope it's 8, because if there's only 2 more left, then I'm going to have issues with it when we reach the end. I'm like, whoa. Considering it's probably their flagstone Star Wars thing. And I guess we could talk about Star Wars a little bit at the moment, because what is happening? All the Star Wars movies that Disney have gone, we're doing all these films, are being cancelled. The directors are jumping ship, or Disney have said, no, we're no longer doing that. And then they tweet out, we're going to mention another 3 new Star Wars projects coming out for the May 4th celebration. You're like, that's definitely getting cancelled then, is it? There's this game that people are playing on Twitter at the moment. You're like, if you get attached to a project, that means you're never doing it when it comes to Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's weird because Disney really need a good Star Wars project, and Mandalorian was it. Mm-hmm. Like, at the moment, the Bad Batch is kind of holding up that
and Andor.
And Andor.
I still haven't seen Andor, so
it's going to be ages until season 2 comes out. And I really hope Ahsoka's good.
Yeah. I mean, Rosario Dawson, when we've seen her play the character, she's been great.
She's been phenomenal, yeah.
But Pedro Pascal as Din has been great also. So it's not just about him. The character. It's not. Is there a story also?
It's always story. Yeah, always story. Yeah. So great episode, but I am worried. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. How are you regardless of whether or not it may or may not have an arc, are you enjoying season 3 so far? Like overall, like when you watch each time, do you? No.
Like episode 3, I switched off. I watched in 2 parts. I've never done that with a Star Wars Mandalorian. Like, I've seen the first 2 seasons of the Mandalorian twice. I watched them from beginning to end. Watch weekly and then watch them again. Just binge watch through it, and just in awe. I know the score kicks in, and I'm like, let's go, let's do this. There's some characters that I was really hoping that we're going to bring back that we've seen a little bit of, but it just it feels contained. It also feels like they don't know what they're doing. And then there's an episode like 3 where they're doing some stuff over here, but we have no idea what that stuff meant,
why, and means. Where it's going. Yeah. Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to have this conversation after the show this season has concluded, to see, did it redeem itself? Did it just crash and burn?
Back? Yeah. It'd be so sad, because the first 2 seasons were incredible.
They were. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So my last thing that I watched comes out on Sunday, the day that this recording will be released.
Okay.
And so I've watched the first 4 episodes. I believe the first 2 drop at once. And it was funny that you were talking about 24 earlier, because this is a Kiefer Sutherland-led project.
I've seen this advertised, yeah.
It is on Paramount Plus, and it is called Rabbit Hole. Now, it is a mystery and action, but it's not 24. So don't
go in thinking it's
don't go in thinking 24
doing another 24.
Yeah, no. It there was in episode 1, I wasn't sure if this was also sci-fi.
Interesting.
Because the way it's edited, it feels like Kiefer Sutherland's main character is detached from reality. and so he doesn't know what's real and not.
Interesting.
There's even a line about that a little bit. Like he doesn't know what end is up. Now, I've got to say that it connects more dots for us. It is still wildly mysterious. You have the basic premise is Kiefer Sutherland plays kind of like a corporate espionage guy who goes in and for a fee will help company A manipulate company B so that something happens so that A can benefit in some way, shape, or form, whatever their goal is. So it's, which seems kind of basic, seems kind of like, I'm not sure that's fun, but there's a whole lot of complexity in here. And then not quite Ocean's 11, but you get flashbacks and you get like, you'll see a scene play out and then
Ocean's
later,
11, Brad Pitt.
Oh, 12 and 13, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Nope. See, we said we would do that. Where we watch something play out and then later we get different context or a different viewpoint on that. And so it provides more clarity, more background on it. It did take a little bit for me to kind of figure out, like, am I enjoying this? Do I like this? By the end of episode 2, though, I was like, ooh, I'm like, episode 1 is nuts. There are some actions in this that happen, like, you're like, whoa, what in the okay. I don't,
Nice.
wow. It keeps you guessing, which I like. This is what I like. Now, this is an American show, and it's keeping me guessing. I don't know what's going on. I'm, and I'm digging it. I'm along for the ride.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a weekly release, so that, I think it's an hour with commercials, because it's funny. My screener copies go black. and then they start again. So my guess is that's for commercial breaks. Yeah. But it's entertaining. Charles Dance from like Game of Thrones, just that iconic voice.
Fantastic.
He is in the cast. There's not a lot of people that there's another guy from Ozark. You know the guy that was playing was he the FBI agent? He was the obsessed FBI agent. In season 2 and 3, I think. He's in this also. He's excellent. It's great. I think if you like convoluted stories, if you like mysteries, if you like not knowing what's going on, but not so much that it's so ethereal or it's so just out there that you're like, well, this is stupid. I'm utterly confused. I mean, you can track along with it. It's just you don't know what the end result of the mystery is and where it's headed and why it's going on. This is exciting. I mean, I'm bummed I only had the first 4 episodes because I
Because you really wanted to watch the next. I mean, that's a good thing. Yeah. Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay.
You have anything else on your list?
Yeah. So I only gave this 3.5 stars, but I think I was a little bit harsh. I don't know. I felt like I needed to be, and I think people will enjoy this possibly. It's a really different film. Quite unique, and I'm going to let my cat out first.
Okay. At least we don't get to see cat butt this week, which would be funny because we've had for a couple weeks in a row Ruben's cat just kind of wandering across the screen or taking over the microphone or anything like that. So,
what?
Oh yeah, I was explaining how it's necessary for you to let the cat out because otherwise we get cat butt.
Yes, cat butt is always an interesting time.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So this film came out to Sky Cinema here in the UK, but I believe it is going to select cinemas. It's going to be really hard to find. You may find it on a streaming platform. You may find it in a small indie theater, but it's got a damn good cast. Patrick Gibson, Christoph Waltz, Sam Neill, Miranda Otto. Just to name a few, and there'll be others in there you'll also recognize. This is called The Portable Door. Quick synopsis: Paul Carpenter is an intern at a mysterious London firm with an unconventional employers, including a CEO who wants to disrupt the ancient magical world with modern corporate practices. So this is, most people are going to, in my review I said, most people are going to talk about this as if it's adult Harry Potter. It's adult Harry Potter, now having seen the film, with a lot of Terry Pratchett and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So nice. You're thinking Discworld, the quirky dialogue from Hitchhiker's Guide, the world building of the magic system or the people, like how Harry Potter had to build the world, like all the things that do different things or what magics or what creatures they have. That is what I find most interesting in this movie. So the characters are fine. There's a story in here, which is why it's called The Portable Door, about the portable door and where that leads, and that is all very cool. But everything in the world is what I want to know more about. And that is the best part of the movie and the worst, because you feel like you're missing out. Like you feel like there's more to know. It is based on a book and maybe a book series. So you feel like, maybe I need to go read the book. And however, that being said, with two powerhouse actors, Christoph Waltz is menacing like heck without trying. Like the presence he oozes on screen. Sam Neill, which I'm sad for him at the moment because he's battling third stage cancer. Oh no! So I really hope he pulls through with that, because they'll be so sad for anybody. But yeah, just love his performances. This, I have never seen Sam Neill like this. What he gets to play, who he gets to play, is a bit off the wall, and it was really refreshing to see him act this way. I loved it. It works perfectly for him. Think grumpy Sam Neill, but with a fantastical element to it, which is very cool. And then, of course, we have our main protagonist, Patrick Gibson, who you will know from the OA.
Yes. And he was just in Shadow and Bone season 2 also. Correct.
Yes. Fantastic to see him on the OA, doing great. Would have loved more from the OA. Still hurt, bummed out by that. But seeing him go on and doing these fantastical kind of, Shadow and Bone is his niche. He seems to do it really well. I really liked him as the bumbling sort of idiot coming to be a hero. So he has the worst day in his life, the film starts off with, which enables him to get a job at this place. For whatever reason, no spoilers. And then you see him get given the task of finding the portable door. And that's where the movie and the story takes us. What that means is because he's given this mission, he gets to go and explore everything in their office, which seems to be their office. I mean, like this building where the company is housed. And that is where the film excels, because everything around the corner is something different, something weird. The stapler on the floor could be something magical and terrifying. There are things like that work. The characters are all weird and wacky, but that leaves you wanting more and wanting to know more. So at the end of the day, when we finish the film, you're like, that was a great one-time watch. I really want to know more.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, you had told me about it a couple of weeks ago off air, and so I think I'm trying to see if it's hitting in the US the April 7th.
Okay.
So, and it will be interesting to see if it's going to come to, well, I don't know where it's going to come to. We'll just have to see. But yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I mean, it looks, the cast, it is fun. I mean, just looking at like even the movie poster does have that kind of whimsical, magical feel to it.
Yeah.
And the which I'm all about. Hey, if we can get more in kind of a Harry Potter world, that's it's a world I would like to go back to. So that's fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Sweet. Anything else on the list?
No, I mean, we had Invisible City season 2, and that I liked that. I thought it was better than the first season. I thought it was sharper, quicker, had more mystical tones, more creatures. I like that, but also don't think it's one I'll ever go back to. So it's like, yeah, it was good. Don't need to watch it again. That doesn't mean it was bad.
Agreed. Yeah. I was bummed that we didn't really get any of the characters from the first season, though. That was what what I mean, the mythical or the folklore characters, which I don't know. Yeah, but the new ones we got were cool, huh?
The horse was crazy.
Oh my gosh, yes, just so cool. Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
So. All right, cool. Right. Well, hey, we thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe each of our channels. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, me, Chris, with Movies and Munchies. You can always tweet at us at Best We Watched. We have a Patreon, as Ruben had mentioned. The entry into that, the first tier is £1, so it's like $1.30, I think, in the U.S., something like that. Tons and tons of videos on there. Just go to patreon.com/thebeardedones. We've had the description in the link below and also probably on the screen as well. And for extended audio, for the full audio portion podcast, you get everything you just saw and more. We'll link that in the description as well, but you can search The Best Thing We Watched on pretty much any of the podcasting platforms, and we will show up there. And gosh, the last year and a half, something like that, 2 years almost, are on there. So you can go back and visit all those if you need or want to. And if you do happen to check us out on the audio podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could rate and review us there, because that just drives up the accessibility, or at least the publicity on whatever platform that is, and more people can discover it. We appreciate you for listening, for your time. And with that, we'll see you next week. All right, take care.